So I will share with you the significance of Naga Devata. Naga dosha is very common. Most of us go through that at one time or other, and the effect is very intense. You would not connect it with Naga dosha, but when you go through any major calamities, major sadness, uh, major illness, assume you are having Naga dosha during that time. Because among all the doshas, Naga dosha is very intense and it works both ways. When the positive effect comes, Naga effect. The reason why it is so effective because this is Kundalini energy. There is 52,000, I'm sorry, 72,000 branches of Kundalini. There's much more than that, hundreds of them. But major Kundalini channels are 72,000. Every minute we go through that. And all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the niceties and the bad things which happens is through the Kundalini flow. And all of you, your Kundalini is awakened. I know that because as a human, your Kundalini is already arisen, but it's in Mooladhara. Deity for Mooladhara is Ganesha. So Ganesha gives you the wisdom and activates the Kundalini and takes you up to Sahasrara. And when it reaches it, you understand the unity of all the beings. Living, non-living, I don't think there's any non-living. Even electrons seem to have their own consciousness, their own thought process. Electron, not even atoms, subatomic particles, they seem to communicate. So we really didn't understand them. So we look at animals and say that we are so much more evolved than them. We are. But animals have their own consciousness. Anything which is alive, to me, everything is alive. If an entity can communicate, it's alive. When it rapidly moves around, speed of light, doesn't clash and exist as an entity. An atom, you see electrons constantly moving, speed of light, doesn't clash, and they communicate. Would you call them a life particle? You would. Something which moves, something which communicates, it has to be alive. Otherwise, it would not be able to do all that. So, something so fundamental, science doesn't seem to accept it. If I go and tell somebody this object has trillion live part of it, nobody will believe me. This is inanimate. But it is not. If there is trillion atoms in this, and this is dynamic, it communicates, so it has to be alive. But the way we understand life is different. We want to be touched, we want to be communicated, we want to interact with the consciousness. That consciousness may be very rudimentary because it's inanimate, but still it must have some degree of consciousness to communicate. And we know now electrons communicate long distance, they communicate. We didn't know that before, so we call them inanimate. We even call the animals no soul. We don't even call the plants alive. You see them growing, and there are many yakshinis. They live in the trees. The trees we have all around, to me, are alive. So when I saw them cutting those trees there, which I did not authorize, and I was not aware, one day the contractor came and cut those trees. To me, it's a massacre in a large scale. So I was very sad for the past month. Extreme sadness because they are us 100 years, 200 years, they live, all of a sudden we cut them. But the energy in the trees, they're still alive. So fortunately, Indran brought to my attention the expert, the world's authority in trees. His name is David Millark. He's an American, well known, He has been on televisions. He's an authority in trees. In trees, biological aspect of the trees, not the spiritual aspect of the trees, but he is a spiritual. You can hear me, right? Okay. Not the spiritual aspect, but he is a spiritualist. He understands the spirits in those trees. So he has made it into a lifelong mission to nurture the trees. He goes all over the world. There are 2 trees he brought and planted here from Greece. Strangely, they're very distinguished trees. What do I mean by that? Our father of medicine, Hippocrates. Hippocrates is the father of medicine. He practiced medicine underneath the tree. And one of the branch he brought it here. How appropriate that would be. And I didn't think it will grow because it's a tropical plant. But it's growing very nicely and the energy is very intense. So it's not the tree physically alone, it is the energy which is in the trees. So many trees like a Bodhi trees under which Buddha got gnosis, and many rishis, they all meditate under the tree because they consume that energy which is there. So I talked to him and I said, I want them alive and more alive than what they were before. He said he will do that. He has a big farm. He has many trees. He said he will give all the farm to us. So in front, we will plant them. They'll be about 6 feet, but they'll grow to be 30, 40 feet. You will see it. I may not be around that long, but you will see it. And many yakshinis, many devathas would come and stay there because mother is here. So it's very logical. This place is very holy, and she's going to give us a magnificent temple A, I call it Shrine A, and Shrine B is Mahamayi Sannidhanam. And she is Chandravadana. Devi Chandravadana is Mahamayi. She is the prime deity there. Strangely, the first deity we install happens to be that. And many of you are asking me, we want that first deity. I said, the one we are making there is magnificent, huge, very big Sannidhanam. That deity is too small for that Sannidhanam. It's a big deity, but for that Sannidhanam it's small. So now she has come down there. She looks magnificent. You will see it in the next 3 months. We will complete that shrine where Mahamayi would be there, Mahamayi Karmani, who is Adi Parashakti. She was the only one which existed, pure consciousness. Then she starts vibrating, and the vibration is called spanda. Creation starts with spanda. Anything which is created has spanda, different degree. I may be vibrating 10,000, you may be vibrating 10,000. This vibrates unit 1, so it's inanimate, but still it's vibrating. Anything which is visible or invisible which exists is vibrating. So vibration seems to be fundamental, and that creates intense heat, and then it cools down, and the materials form. That's how the creation in a prakriti state starts. So all this is, she is the origin of that. And what did she do? She decided, I said she, because she's Shiva Shakti. She's both Shiva and Shakti. She separates and she sends Shiva to Kailash. You do the dissolving function, dissolutory function, and I'll do the creative function. And she goes to this place, it's called Gauri Kund. I was there 6 weeks ago on your behalf. You're all there when I was down there. Because it's all mental. Anyone I seen, I know, I am aware of, I take them with me. So all of you were with me. Wonderful place, about 6,000, 5 to 6,000 feet high. And there's a little lake there. It's called Gauri Kund. And what happened probably is a meteorite would have come and struck that place when Earth was very young, maybe 500 million years ago, soon after creation of Earth as a planet, not as a spiritual part, pure physical house. And then she manifested as Gauri, and yesterday we did a wonderful Abhishekam for her. I call her Mahagauri, and she is referred to as Mahatapasvi. Among all the entities which existed, who can do tapas so intensely is Gauri, Mahagauri. No one can do that. Why should she do them? Because she wants to create. How much she created? Humans alone, 7 billion. Insects, any living organism in the world will be trillion, trillion, trillion of them. And she creates and becomes part of it as an Atman of that entity. And that is in essence the only thing which is real. Anything else, this is all be gone soon. They won't exist. But Atman exists. And this realization that you are an Atman, you're just wearing the shell because you need to grow up. To grow up, you need the mind, body, intellect, and ego. So you need the shell. So you, a short-term rental, you rented the short-term, and we use it to evolve consciousness, our higher consciousness, which tells us the truth, who we are, where we came from, why we are here, where we are going to go. How often we think of this question? This is the fundamental question. We should be asking this all the time, but we don't. But when you come to a place like holy place like that, you meet those yakshinis. Then you see there are higher beings who are much higher, much more vibration. I said 10,000. That would be the closest yakshini would be million vibration. And something is vibrating that fast, you cannot see that. But you can feel them, you can see them. The third eye, the wisdom eye, pineal, in a physical term, pineal may be that. But we don't know very much about pineal glands. We know very little about pineal glands among all the endocrine. As time goes on, we'll find more and more what it does. But what it does is control all the kundalini flows. And ultimately, the gnosis, the jnana comes from kundalini. Everything, anything, any activity has to be kundalini activity. And she's the mother of kundalini. She has manifested here. She's building the temple. She built one. Now she's building a magnificent 33 Sannidhanam will be there. Many of them you may not even be knowledgeable, but you will be. You will know them because they will know you. In a year and a half time frame, we will complete. She will complete and energize every vigraha inside. And all about them you will know. And she wrote that story. That's what she did in the creation. She wrote each one of us life. She wrote the script. But we did it in that form. But she is the originator. She is the producer. We are the actors. And each one has a different script. And we enjoy, we suffer, whatever. But enjoyment and suffering comes from various cosmic energy. Naga Devata, Nagarani and Nagaraja are two aspects. And that's a fundamental aspect. Every cell, every activity goes through Kundalini. The knowledge, the wisdom, the holiness, the auspiciousness, all come from Kundalini. If Kundalini is not developed, you would not have the gnosis. The gnosis is a relative term. How much she knows may be more than how much I know. But we know. The degree is her grace, her decision that this soul has to grow up and go to this loka, and we move. May not even be in this universe. It may be different universe, but we exist as that Atman. She is just a temporary shell. It happens to be Earth, this life. Next life may be different planet, different universe, but shell. But we will exist because we are eternal. Divine Mother is eternal. There is no beginning, there is no end. For us too, there is no beginning, there is no end. But we evolve and ultimately go back to her and become part of her. That is the mission of our life. To do that, just imagine, The separation between, I'll just use myself, between me and the closest Yakshini is million times. How can I possibly interact with her, experience her, explore her? Impossible. Unless Divine wants me to have that experience, unless Divine wants you to have the experience. That gnosis comes in, Kundalini awakens, then you feel her. So the mission of our temple is to be, for the earthlings, to be able to explore and experience the divine. That is the mission. And you and I are being used as participants in that mission, which is a very noble mission, to be employed by her with the knowledge, with the rituals. Every ritual we do is very meaningful, that activates that cosmic energy in us, which is dormant. There's millions of them, maybe billions of them. But each life we accentuate ourselves and we live close to 1,000,000 lifetimes. That's what Krishna Bhagavan told Arjuna. You have lived 800,000 times, but you don't remember. I remember every one of you. During the Gita, he explains them. And of course, Arjuna still would not. So you and I are probably higher because we believe, we trust. When the divine says, I am divine, that we don't have to, he doesn't have to prove. But Krishna Bhagavan had to prove. So he showed his Visvarupa. And in that Rupa, he sees all the battle is over already. Soldiers are dead, the uncles are dead. Battle is over. And he showed them, he showed him that. That made him a believer. He needed that much to convince him this is God, He's a creator. Because all this, what happened, what is happening, what is going to happen, it's all happened already. We are recreating it because the purpose for us to grow up. Grow up means purifying ourselves. How do you do them? You create extreme love to any life form. So love seems to be, in this yuga, seems to be the fundamental energy. It's in Anahata chakra, the heart chakra. That is place of love. And this age is that. In each yuga, each age is different energy. This age, this yuga is love. Love seems to be the fundamental. And she is full of love. And she has manifested. She has given us a wonderful, wonderful temple. I'm looking at Rajalakshmi. I remember her standing on top and looking. I just remember, I can picture her. I can see her. And this is what, 20 years ago? I can see it clearly. She was standing at the top. I was standing and she was standing. And we were enjoying that wonderful experience she gave. She gave us all and she gives the word. And this will go on because this is Kali Yuga. Remember, we have another 150,000 years of suffering ahead of us. That will happen. But she has said, my action will protect the world. The world won't be destroyed. But it will go through major crises. And human beings, animals, you'll all suffer. But with her kindness, we will survive. And for that, she has given herself as Prati Ankara Devi, Devi Prati Ankara. Tomorrow, we will invoke her when you do the Garuda. Tomorrow is Garuda's day. We will invoke her, Prati Ankara Devi. And what she does, she gives us perseverance. Sham. Sham is her bija. So a time of great tragedy, great misery, when I saw that tragedy, I think of her and I invoke Sham. And that nullifies the extreme. Yeah, it really hurt me. I felt it. I felt like those who have been with us for hundreds of years and all of a sudden we cut them without even knowing that contractor did it. And there was no need, it could have been avoided. But she's going to replace with magical trees. Because the one this person is going to bring and plant, David Millard, you remember. These are special trees nurtured in a special way by him. Not just with fertilizers alone, with his spirit, with his love, with his affection. Okay, he treats them like live form, which they are. But you got to treat them. He communicates with them. He talks to them. So these are live trees, and you'll bring them and plant them all over there, maybe 50 of them. So that area would become auspicious. It is auspicious because she is here, but visually I don't feel happy when I see that beautiful trees cut. But that is a part of Asuric act. Now the Asuras are active because they are her children and they have to have their share. So she will let them have their share. And it will manifest as tragedies, economic, political, COVID, all these tragedies we are having now. It will be because of the Asuri. And you can't even blame the Asuras because that is the job. They are created for that purpose and they are needed. Without Asuras, there are no Devas. If you want to have happiness and Ananda is a nice term. You have to have sadness. You have to have tragedy. Without that, other ones don't exist. If you want to experience life, you have to have good with bad. But if you have the secret of persevering sadness, pain, and suffering with the grace of Devi Pratyankara, we are the luckiest ones. We have good and bad, and we experience and we grow up. The net result, net benefit is our consciousness grows. We grow up to be higher beings, growing up, not just physically, conscious. And 100,000 years, 200,000 years, our face, our whole thing will change. The head will be the biggest part, body will be a small part, but that will take million years. Because evolution takes that long to create. And then you look at this little virus, COVID, not even on complete cell. How smart that is. Already, within a year, it has realized we are attacking that with vaccines, with our antibody. So it modifies, it becomes Delta strain. So quickly. Look at us. To change one gene will take 100,000 years. To change us will take million years. Who is advanced? Time is up. Okay. So those little things. So ultimately, they're all from Mother. The spirit aspect of each. And even a small one are the mighty. But we are the highest. Why we are the highest? We can do abstract thinking. The abstract thinking capacity is human. Can a dog or a cat think? Yes, I'm sure they do. But it's a different level of abstract thinking. They may not think as much as we do to understand creation itself. To the degree we understand, they may not. I'm saying they may not because some of them I know they're very highly advanced. They are dogs, but they have their own consciousness, their own development. So I'll stop here because I think Alankaran is over. So today is a wonderful day. We are very blessed. I'm happy to see you because I miss seeing you. Last time I remember I was on the top of the temple stand. So thank you and congratulations.